back to the 815 Exchange, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 7:04. We're back. Blue Couch, we're back. Same time as it was, 3-4 months ago it's been. We are back in the 7:04. This is episode 55 of the 815 Exchange. So, yeah, hopefully, I don't know. I can't really give you a time length. I got nothing for you this week. I have no idea. This is kind of an unknown, almost like a trial period because, of course, as I told you last week, I am back in uni, so we got schedules all over the place. But we're trying to fit it in here on this Monday, even though I have class pretty much all day. But I have this subsection, a little about 2-hour period before my next class. So we're recording now. We'll try to edit a little bit. And, yeah, hopefully get it up to you guys by the end of the night. But, as always, let's not waste any time here. No need for a long intro. No need to get sentimental. This isn't episode 53. This is episode 55. Alright, so, yeah, we're back. You get it. As always, timestamps are in the description, as are my social media links. Everything you need to find, everything you want, it's in the description. Just go to the description. You'll find everything you need, everything you're looking for. It is there. Also, as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Much appreciated. Appreciate you guys. Been showing crazy love, of course, the past month and a half it's been on everything. So, yeah, appreciate you guys. Much appreciated. But like I said, without further ado, we're not going to waste too much more time here. We're going to get straight to combat sports. No lengthy intros today. Because we had some stuff go down, and I was wrong about something, which was my bad. But it allows me to talk about it more and have an actual section for it this week. But to start off, we're going to talk about the UFC. We had a UFC fight night. I forget which UFC Vegas this is. I wish they kept calling it UFC fight night sometimes so I can keep the number. But we got UFC Vegas. I'll have to look up what number it is. But it was headlined, of course, by the big middleweight matchup between Jared Cannonier and, of course, Kelvin Gastelum. And listen. I love KG. I really do. I love KG. I love what he has to offer. He's very good. He's very good. The problem is he's just not elite. And that's okay. That's okay. That is okay. Not being, the guy is okay. It's okay. But for his skill level, I feel like and a lot of people feel this way. I think at 170 might be where Kelvin Gastelum belongs, if I'm being honest. I feel like that might be better suited for him. I think that's where he might shine a little bit better in the UFC if he's able to go down, take some time off, and go down to 170 because he's faced nothing but killers at 185 and he's faced the best of the best at 185, but he just can't beat any of them. Sure, he gave Izzy his toughest fight, but he's faced Cannonier, he lost. He lost to Paulo, I think. He's lost to Vittori. I think he's lost to, he just lost to Rob. So it's a tough situation. It's a tough situation for Kelvin. I think he needs to go down to 170. I think he'd be better suited there. In the co-main event, Clay Guida, who has been fighting forever. I feel like he was fighting he may have been fighting the year I was born at this point. I feel like he's been in the UFC for ages, absolute ages. He was in the co-main event against Marco Madsen, who is a former Olympic wrestler. So you would think maybe we're going to the ground here. No. Madsen decided to get into a strike fest with Clay Guida, and it actually worked out for him. He got the split decision. Good win for Madsen. We'll see if he can continue to rise. Clay didn't get embarrassed. It was a split decision, like I said. He really has, besides money, because, Dana doesn't pay his fighters, he has nothing to fight for, but he's still out here, still putting in some wars, still got some wins over the past couple years. It's not really like a BJ Penn situation, so more power to Clay, but Madsen passes through, I guess, one of the gatekeepers of the UFC. Also, as I go through the rest of this card, we had Nunes with that insane KO against Bia Maliki. A lot of hype around Bia because she's possibly marketable, if you understand what marketable means. But Nunes made quick, easy work of her. It was really no contest. Also, an absolute knockout of the year candidate from Ignacio Bahamondes against Roosevelt Roberts. That kick was insane. Absolutely insane. That was all over my Twitter feed. all over the IG, and then UFC posted like 3 different replays for it. Absolutely crazy. If you haven't seen it, go look at it. I probably will pop a picture up right here for you so you can get the still footage. But that's nothing like the actual clip of it. So yeah, definitely go check that out. Now moving over to boxing. Of course, the big matchup was Manny Pacquiao taking on Yordenis Ugas for the WBA welterweight title, which belonged to Ugas. Manny. This was supposed to be, of course, Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence. Errol Spence suffered, I believe, an eye socket injury, something to do with that. So that's why he was out. But nonetheless, Ugas, Pacquiao, it's a Manny fight. Everybody's going to watch if it's a Manny fight. And that's what we got. And it was a very competitive matchup. Don't get me wrong when I say what I'm about to say. It was a very competitive matchup. It was a very, very competitive matchup. For 42 years old and 2 years off, Pacquiao looked good. He looked good. But it's time to retire. If you don't know already, Ugas got the UD, well-deserved. He definitely won that fight. I know some people had it in Pacquiao's favor, but Ugas' jab was just, it was too much. It was just too much. He was finding his spots. Manny was having some difficulties dealing with the range and the size difference. But legendary career, of course, Manny Pacquiao, Pacman, one of the greatest boxers of all time. He's got, nothing left to prove. He's got nothing left to prove. He's already amongst the greats. I think it's time to call it quits on his career, though. I don't see him hanging around with any of the elite welterweights. Sure, maybe competitive. I don't know. It could have been worse with Spence, right? Or Bud Crawford, right? But, Ugas did what he had to do, proved, hey, he earned that, well-deserving of the title. Well-deserving of being a world champion. I would like to see him face off against, again, we've got that stalemate between Crawford and Spence. So hopefully, one of them can fight Ugas and we can get that and get some of those titles unified. But for now, Manny Pacquiao, one of the greatest of all time. Time to call it quits, though. Time to call it quits. And of course, this next Sunday, not this past Sunday like I thought. I admit I was wrong. Got my timeline mixed up. There's been a lot going on lately. But next Sunday, of course, we have the big drama show. We got Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. I know there's a lot of differing opinions, a lot of thoughts, a lot of think pieces. And I said some of it on the Roundup portion that I did for this last episode. Like I said, I don't want to hear any fixed comments if who you want to win doesn't win or who you didn't want to loses. I don't want to hear anything about fixed or somebody took a dive. It's not going to happen. Prediction for this fight, I got nothing. Honestly, I have no idea. Woodley has looked relatively washed. I mean, he went out with a banger in his last UFC fight, but besides that, he's looked absolutely washed. And boxing is a different game. Even though you still got the striking, you still got those elements in MMA, it's a different game. It is a different game. So, with that said though, Woodley still has that experience over Jake. So we'll see if that, plays a factor. Of course, Tyron's been working out. He's been training with the Mayweathers. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know. All I know is that Twitter afterwards is going to be absolutely must-watch television. Must-watch television. It's going to be the type of Twitter night where you're going to want to remember where you were. It's going to be a legendary Twitter night on Sunday, August 29th. I can't promise you the result, but I can promise you that. You are going to want to enjoy that. And that's going to be very fun to talk about in next week's episode 56. But yeah, Jake, Tyron, you can let me know who you got winning. I have no clue. Honestly, no clue who's going to win this. But I know it's probably going to be very entertaining. So there's that. All right, now to move over to soccer, or for my European viewers, football. Chelsea might be, listen, I know they won the Champions League, last year. They got a great team. They really, on paper, probably already should be one of the favorites, to repeat. But after getting big wrong, after this team looks absolutely, he looked like in this first game against Arsenal, and I'll get to Arsenal, he looked like he was that missing piece. He looked like he was that clinical striker that defenses are going to have to pay tons of attention and frees up the rest of those guys like Kai Havertz, like a Mason Mount, like, even though he's down with COVID, Christian Pulisic, like a Ziyech, right, like a Timo, frees up the rest of those guys to kind of do what they do best in terms of movement and creativity. You have that big striker up front who can score goals at will, it seems, with Rom, and I think that's just, it's a match made in heaven. It's a match made in heaven, and Chelsea just completely outclassed Arsenal. I said it last week when they lost to Brentford. I feel bad for Arsenal fans. Gunner fan, I feel bad for you. I feel bad. I really do feel bad. Because y'all have fallen way off. And it's not looking like, even though you did get Odegaard and some good news, you did get Martin Odegaard to sign a permanent contract, it's not looking good at all for Arsenal this year. They're off to a horrific start, losing to Chelsea here. Reece James also scored the end of that beautiful team goal from Chelsea. Chelsea's looked great. Looked absolutely fantastic. And with Big Rom, that's definitely going to be a story we're going to be covering and we're going to be watching the rest of this year. It's going to be one of the bigger stories, I think, in soccer. Also, another team that's constantly in the world news, Paris Saint-Germain continues to roll on in Ligue 1. Going to be interesting to see what they do in this Champions League campaign. Messi is expected to make his debut, I believe, this Friday. He set out, I think, the Nantes. I think that's who they played, Nantes this past week. Mbappe, for all the rumors about him leaving, he looks very in tune with that team. Scored 2 straight games. I think he scored 8 of his last 10 Ligue 1 games or something crazy like that. But yeah, Mbappe on fire. PSG off to a fantastic start, as expected when you have a team of that caliber. But good stuff from PSG so far. We'll see what Messi does. Hopefully we'll be talking about that next week. And maybe we can finally get that Neymar, Messi, Mbappe up front trio and see how that works. Because, look, everybody, you at home, you're probably looking forward to it. Everybody's looking forward to it. So hopefully we get it this weekend. Ronaldo leaving Juventus, even though he showed up at the end of, I think, yesterday's match. According to Fabrizio, shout out to Fab, he asked to sit out because he's trying to leave Juventus. Interesting scenario there. Don't know where he's going to go. Do not know where Ronaldo is going to go at this point in his career. Maybe to PSG, and we can just continue this super ultra mega team, whatever you want to call it, of the world's greatest attack. But yeah, I don't know where Ronaldo's going to go. PSG, I guess, the option. Maybe he goes home to Manchester United. I don't know. You also have to pay for his wage bill. I don't know where Ronaldo's going to go. I don't know if he's actually even leaving the Juventus. But we'll see. We'll see what that scenario pops up. It seems like everybody... It's been an insane transfer window. Honestly, it's been an absolutely insane transfer window. So we'll see what transpires there. But that's soccer news for the week. Now to move over to entertainment. And no real music this week. No music, another dry. I'm not going to talk about the whole Kanye claiming he's Joker. I don't really care. Trippie Redd's album dropped. I haven't listened to it. I did listen to Betrayal. That transition that everybody was talking about definitely lived up to the hype. I haven't listened to the rest of the album though. Though I've heard it was solid. So shout out to Trippie. You can let me know if you did listen to the album. However, I watched quite a bit of television. Started Peaky Blinders. It's been great so far. Got some other stuff I'm watching, and some of it I'll talk about here, like the What If series. Marvel, oh my goodness. Episode 1 I liked. I know some people were like, yeah, not too much change. But episode 2, with rest in peace Chadwick Boseman, still can't believe he's gone. What if T'Challa was Star-Lord, or / Ravager? And he made Peter look just terrible. He made Peter Quill look like a terrible Star-Lord in comparison, because T'Challa knocked it out of the park and Marvel knocked it out of the park in this episode. T'Challa was able to negotiate with Thanos and make Thanos good. That was an interesting... I know a lot of people thought it was just going to be a cameo for Josh Brolin, but he was in the whole episode. With Thanos, good Thanos. I like the way they still incorporated his plans as kind of like this joke thing that he kept bringing up as it was efficient, quote unquote. Let's see. Ego finds, however, despite all of the good that happens here, like Nebula. Listen, I don't have to say it about Nebula. I really don't have to say it. You were thinking it. I was thinking it. I ain't gonna say it on here, but things worked out for her. She has a good relationship with her father, or patched up relationship with her father. She didn't become a cyborg here. Like, everything is up. Everything is up. People actually know who Star-Lord is, right? People want to be around the Ravengers. It was completely great episode, right? And it looked like this world was almost like a utopia. But then at the end, of course, Ego finds Peter, and that could be much, 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 much worse. And I guess we'll see maybe the fallout of that, or maybe a different scenario. I don't really know how they're doing the whole what if, but I know some characters are coming back, so probably we'll see what happens if Ego finds Peter in this situation, because that could be catastrophic, especially since Peter has no incentive. He didn't get found by Yondu, right? He has no incentive to not go with his father in this situation. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, and what's the fallout of this episode, and what happens when T'Challa is Star-Lord. But overall, fantastic episode. Might have been one of my favorite episodes of TV I've seen all year, honestly. It was very, very good, very enjoyable to watch. They knocked it out of the park there. Titans episode 4. Dick versus Scarecrow. Nightwing versus Scarecrow. The pacing for the show, once again, it's been my real problem with the show so far this season, is the pacing. It feels like we're moving at an accelerated pace in terms of what's going on, which makes me wonder how many episodes are in this season. But nonetheless, again, rapid fire. Scarecrow, turns out he's the one, as some of you may have predicted, was the one that was kind of manipulating Jason into becoming the Red Hood or whatever, going out on his own, making these decisions. Dick has completely gone off the deep end a little bit. Gone off the deep end just a little bit. Broke Crane out of prison without a mask on, which makes him a criminal, right? Even though he'd been walking into the police lot. Anyways, I guess I have to suspend my belief for that. So he did that, and then Bruce, and then they did the flashback with Bruce in his training with Dick. And honestly, that a lot of people were like, is that out of character for Bruce? But I mean, the way Bruce has been portrayed, and honestly, just overall, that's not too far off. The whole leaving him in the woods, he has to, survive on himself and come back. That's not too crazy. That's not too out of pocket. I didn't feel like that was too far-fetched for that to have happened. So I had no problems with that. But yeah, just the pacing of the show, it's been so accelerated. I'm wondering what's going to come out of that Starfire, Blackfire plot, because that also came off a little awkward. Not sure what Starfire has planned for his sister, but I guess we'll find out. This was not my favorite episode. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it, even though I enjoy Titans. This was not my favorite episode that they've ever made. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in episode 5. We haven't seen Raven at all, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see. That's the best way we can put about this, that episode, is we'll see. Also, on Stars, I know they got Hills, the show Hills, with Alexander Skarsgård and Stephen Amell playing two brothers in a Southern wrestling promotion, and just kind of showing the ins and outs of that. I was able to watch episode 1. Haven't seen episode 2 and 3, but I did see episode 1. A lot of good stuff there. A lot of good stuff. It looked very interesting. Definitely going to try to check out episode 2 and episode 3 when I get some free time, when I don't have class or homework, or I'm doing this. So definitely try to check that out. But so good so far. So far so good. Excuse me. So far so good. Yeah. But yeah, that was entertainment. Now for the MLB, Shohei Ohtani. What more can we say? What more can we say about Shohei Ohtani? First to 40 home runs. His ERA is now under, he's had, how many straight quality starts has Ohtani had? Since that one, literally the only bad start he's had pretty much all season was the debacle against the Yankees, which was probably the worst start of his career, as I called it back then. But besides that, he's been pristine. Absolutely pristine on the mound. Didn't have a good game yesterday, but 40 home runs. His ERA is that low. He's getting wins. I think he's got 100 Ks as well. Listen, Vlad having a great season, but I don't know how right now at this point you do not give the MVP to Shohei Ohtani. It's once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime player. Not a generational player, a once in a lifetime player. This is unprecedented. Unprecedented in baseball. So we'll see what happens the rest of the season for Shohei, and wish him the best. Hopefully Trout can come back here at the end of the season. I don't know where the Angels are playoff-wise, but we'll see what happens there. Going to the AL East, a couple of weeks back on episode 53, me and Eddie talked about it as basically as the AL Beast. But in the AL Beast, in the AL East, there is one team that is not doing as well as the others. That is the Baltimore Orioles, who are now on the Arizona Diamondbacks and have lost 18 straight games. Not road games, not home games, just 18 straight games. It has been a pit of misery for Baltimore. At least they have Adley Rutschman, the number one prospect in the planet right now for baseball. So at least you got that. You got the number one prospect. I think he's probably going to get called up sooner than later. But Orioles, it's just down horrendous. Moving on, celebratory here. Miguel Cabrera hits number 500. Yeah, shout out to Miguel Cabrera, one of the greatest players of this generation. Hit number 500, so congrats to Miggy. Like I said, Triple Crown, I think 2 times over. One of the greatest players in Detroit Tigers histories, of course. But big time, hits number 500. That's a huge milestone, so congrats to him. And of course, I have to talk my stuff a little bit. I have to talk my stuff a little bit because my Yankees are surging. We were down in the pits. It wasn't looking good for a period of time. As we got closer to the All-Star break, a lot of people were calling for Aaron Boone's head. But since we made those trade deadline changes, something with the chemistry of the team, it's just working now. I think we have the best record in the MLB since the All-Star break, or at least since the trade deadline. So that's up. Record, we're surging in the wild card, surging in the AL East, so good stuff there. Aaron Judge is on fire. Andrew Velasquez, shout out to him. He stepped up big time. Garrett Cole's putting in good innings. Pitching's been better than it was to start the season. So we're catching up. We're getting into a rhythm at the right time, and that's what you need to be, especially in a long baseball season. You want to get better as the season goes on, and the Yankees have done that. So happy me. We'll see how it goes the rest of the season, but Yankees on fire for now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, we have covered all of my major topics for the week, and that means we have reached the roundup. And we're going to start off. I was going to start off with NFL preseason, but actually I want to start off with the Prefontaine Classic. I almost gave this its own separate subject, separate topic, but we're just going to talk about it here. The big news, of course, was Sha'carri Richardson returning back to the track. She ran the 100 meters, was supposed to run the 200 meters. But as you know, if you have any type of social media, that didn't really work out for Sha'carri, did it? She got smoked, no pun intended. She got absolutely smoked, finished dead last. Dead last in the 100 meters. Elaine also, shout out to Elaine Thompson-Herah. I have to give a big shout out to her. She ran the second fastest time for a woman ever in the 100 meters. I think at 10:54, so absolutely insane stuff from Elaine. She's the fastest woman in the world. Fastest woman in the world, no doubt. No conversation about it, no ifs, ands, or buts. Sharika Jackson got third, and of course Cheyenne Fraser-Price got second. So a clean sweep once again for the Jamaicans. That sprinting program, like I said when I was talking about it there in Tokyo, is just on another level. But let's talk about Sha'carri, because after she finished last, it wasn't like she pulled anything. She just straight up finished last, got smoked, like I said. They gave her the interview, which I don't think they should have done. She was tilted very clearly, came off very salty. There was a lot of bitterness in that interview, and then of course on social media had the whole thing going on. But yeah, Sha'carri, of course, we had the big spat on Twitter and on Instagram, leaked out everywhere. It's a tough situation. It's a tough situation. I know she's got a lot going on mentally. She's got to work through that. But, maybe take some time off. Take some time off, Sha'carri. It's just better for the betterment of your career, for the betterment of your mental health. Take some time off from the world, because right now it just doesn't seem like you're in the right headspace. Horrific performance at the pre-classic. I think that was the final event of the season as well, so not a good way to end after what was such a hot start, after she had all the momentum after the U.S. Olympic trials, but then getting popped for marijuana and all that stuff. It's just not been good. I will talk about, however, in the 800 meters, Ating Merrill is just, she's a phenom. She's a phenom. She's an absolute phenom. Thank God she's American, because she's going to dominate the 800. And honestly, if she wanted to jump into the 400 free, I think she'd do well there as well. But yeah, she's something special in that 800 Mew with another dominant performance at the pre-classic. Who else? Andre DeGrassi of Canada, the Olympic gold medalist in the 200 meters. Got it done in the 100 meters at the pre-classic. So shout out to DeGrassi, shout out to Canada, shout out to Team Nike. Now, like I said, now we're going to head over to the NFL preseason. Of course, we've been talking about the quarterbacks, had some interesting stuff. Coming out of the joint training camps and the joint practices. Jalen Ramsey, even though he later refuted it, apparently was getting routed up by Hunter Renfrow. So we'll see. We'll see what the scenario is there. Of course, we had that very, very, very funny Sterling Shepard and Mike Hill, I believe it was, from the Browns and Giants practice. We had those. The great shout out to that photographer, by the way, for getting those pictures of that fight. NFL preseason, Trey Lance had a good start yesterday, or a good outing. I won't say a good start, a good outing yesterday. Tua, a lot of the young quarterbacks, besides Justin Fields getting his head taken off, got decapitated. A lot of young quarterbacks had a good weekend, so we'll see how that goes. Of course, NFL season getting back closer and closer and closer. We're so close. We're so close. And speaking of football, college football is back this week, ladies and gentlemen. It is week 0, so college football is back. We'll talk about it next week. And of course, the week after that is when it really starts in 2 weeks with week 1 and everything that goes on there. I think we play here at Charlotte. We play Duke on a Friday, so I'll be at that game. And of course, I'll tell you all about it on Day 15 Exchange. I think that's episode 57. So we'll talk about it there. But yeah, college football is back. Also staying in the college football lane. Shout out to the 336, even though I'm not there, always repping. Travis Shaw of Grimsley High School, number 4 player in the class of 2023, I believe. The number 4 player in the class of 2022, I got it now. Committed to North Carolina as expected. Even, not that I talked to Trav and knew he was going to Carolina, but I widely, with all of the D-lineman recruits and the people from the area that have been, prime 4 5-star prospects from the 336 have gone to Carolina, and the connections they have with Trav. Honestly, I expected it. Big pickup. Matt Brown has done wonders for that North Carolina program, so shout out to him. UNC football is on the rise, even though I'm not a UNC fan. Probably closer to the opposite of that spectrum, but gotta show some respect to Matt Brown. Always better with the super conference idea and just topic being thrown around. It's nice to see the ACC on the come up a little bit. Somebody to contend with Clemson at least. Nice to see how that transpires. But yeah, congrats to Trav, congrats to Grimsley, congrats to the 336, and to end on some basketball recruiting. Number 15 player in the class of 2023, Tyler Smith, a forward. He committed to the Overtime Elite program. Shout out to Overtime. Honestly, I did not expect them to be doing as well in terms of getting these prospects as they've been, but they've done a very good job. They've done a very good job getting these guys to commit to this program. I still wonder, what exactly it's going to be about, how it's going to look. I know it's got to be coming up very soon, so going to be interesting to see what the Overtime Elite do, but they've done a good job recruiting prospects, honestly. Up there with the G League Ignite in terms of the actual being able to get these young guys to come in and commit to being a part of that rather than going the G League route or going to college. They've been able to effectively do that, so we'll see what happens from that, but just another story to look forward to. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed episode 55, I think this is, yeah, episode 55. Not too much, probably one of the shorter episodes. Live from the 704. We're back in college, black on the blue couch. But yeah, I'm not going to waste any more time. Ocho, signing off.